This is the second part of our service recovery discussion. And in this case, we're going to be talking about some processes and procedures. And I think that's one of the most critical parts of service recovery is having a process or procedure in place. So when we think about processes, we have to teach the importance of service recovery. We have to teach our employees why they need to do service recovery. Bringing people back, right? Making sure that their problems are resolved. We have to identify the service problems, what's actually happening out there that we need to rectify. We have to solve the problems effectively and then improve the service system. So teach, identify, resolve, and improve. Let's look at Disney, for example, how they deal with this. Now, this is a Disney service recovery. This was from a few years back when the Lion King was popular. Well, it's again popular, of course, but the Okuna Mata was the name of the service that they actually used. So that's what they called this process, the Okuna Mata process. So what happens is a cast member encounters a guest situation. They listen, apologize, and they're concerned. If the guest is happy, everybody walks away and they're fine. If the guest is not happy, okay, then there's a potential problem that has to be identified. What is that the guest needs? If you can solve the problem quickly there, and you need help from the manager, then you have to figure out what that might be, and then you fill out a form. Of course, Disney likes you to fill out forms. They're a big form-oriented company, and then you follow up afterwards to make sure that the guest was happy. So in the process, what would happen is the front desk person would get a copy, the guest research, now this is back in the paper days, so today is all electronic, and your manager gets a copy, department tracking. I mean, that's Disney. Disney wants everybody to know what's going on, how they're doing it, and that's the Okuna Matata process. So the key is, if you listen, apologize, and the customer's happy, everything's fine. But if not, then you have to go through this whole aspect of documenting it so that you know what it is and making sure that you're going to be able to fix any problems that come along the way. So in their categorization then of the service recovery, they look at how you go about solving it. Okay, so if you want to be a hero up here, if you want to be a hero in this process over here, then if the problem, well, let's look at it from the standpoint down here. You've got severity of the problem and you've got the fault. So if the problem is not severe and it's not your fault, then empathize with the guest. Empathize with the guest. So we're talking about empathy. That's down here in the lower problem. So it's not a very high severity, and it's not really likely your fault. If the problem is not very severe, but it is our fault, then you fix it. Hey, you get it fixed right away. If the problem's severe and it's not your fault, you have an opportunity to be a hero. Okay, that's what we're talking about here. Not our fault, but we can do something about it and therefore be a hero. You know, the young kids walking down Main Street and their ice cream cone falls onto the ground. You go and get them another ice cream cone. It wasn't your fault, but boy, what a hero if you do something like that. That's a Disney philosophy. If the problem is very severe and it's your fault, then you roll out the red carpet. You make sure that you get things treated well. Does that make sense? Right? Similar to what we talked about earlier back in the marketing aspect of differentiating ourselves. Here we're talking about how we're doing it from a service recovery standpoint. I'm going to have you watch a certain section of this particular video. I'm going to use this video again. It was a great interview with a Ritz-Carlton person that gives you a good idea of how they view the process here. And by the way, the chimes are going on the clock behind me, so slide. There we go. I'm going to introduce a role play that your team is going to work with you on. And this role play comes from your Knock Your Socks Off service book. It's a case study, right? You'll be given a case study and you're going to have to play a role. And this is the Knock Your Socks Off procedure. What you're going to find out is pretty similar to what Disney's is. You apologize and acknowledge. You listen, empathize, and ask questions. You fix the problem quickly, and you offer atonement. In other words, you offer a resolve to it. You follow up, and you keep your promises. That's the process that you're going to go through. Apologize and acknowledge. So in the role play, when the customer gives their particular approach on it, you as the service provider are going to acknowledge that problem. You're going to listen, emphasize, ask questions, open-ended questions about what happened, and then try and fix the problem quickly, follow up, and remember to keep your promises, right? Now, in those customer aspects, you're going to find yourself playing one of these roles. We'll let the group determine who's going to do that and how you're going to do it. You have the blase blue. Okay, these are the complainers that we talked about before. Show surprise, usually general people handling skills, key into the customer themselves. That's how you resolve a blase blue customer, right? Show surprise. Oh, I'm surprised that actually happened. The ornery orange, somebody who's angry, right? Show urgency, enlist the customer in generating solutions, create the added value. And then the raging red, the person who's, you got to be empathized with, get them to stop venting, calm them down. So you're going to have a customer that might be playing the role of blase blue, ornery orange, or raging red. The other area we need to think about here in terms of the recovery are guarantees. Okay, how are we going to guarantee that we're going to deliver what we expect, what the customer expects? So meeting the expectations, right? So guarantee means the assurance of the fulfillment of the condition. That's Webster's dictionary. For products, guarantees are often done in the form of a warranty, but we can't do that from a service standpoint exactly, so we have to come up with different ways. We can't return the service. The service experience is intangible, remember? So what do we guarantee, right? So, well, unconditional. Guarantee should make us promise unconditional, no strings attached. So if you're not happy, we give you your money back. It has to be meaningful. Guarantee elements have to be meaningful to that customer, whatever the payout is if you're going to pay somebody for that. Easy to understand and communicate, and easy to invoke and collect. Whatever it may be in the process has to be able to be done. Now, years ago, Holiday Inn came up with a guarantee that failed. I mean, it was successful to the customer, but not to the owners. The owners ended up with a great deal of expense because people would come in and abuse that, and they had to change the way that policy is set up. But what good guarantee does, it forces a company to focus on their customers, sets clear standards, gets customer feedback, forces the company to understand why it failed, and builds market muscle. Your ability out there to say, hey, we guarantee this. So does everyone need a guarantee? This is a question for you. Does everyone need a guarantee? Reason companies don't give it, right? They would be at odds with the company's image. As I said, we don't make mistakes, so why in the world should we be guaranteeing something? We're already giving it. Ritz-Carlton might take that view. Too many uncontrollable external factors, and that's basically what happened in the case of the Holiday Inn situation. Hampton Inns, by the way, which is a Hilton product, does give a guarantee these days. In fact, I've actually taken advantage of it. I didn't try to do that. I complained about a problem that I had in one of their hotels, and they came back and gave me the guarantee and refunded my stay. I've since stayed there again. Costs of a guarantee are too high, right? Fears of people cheating, those kind of things happen. So service guarantees work for companies who are already customer focused. Effective guarantees can be big deals. They put the company at risk in eyes of the customer. That can be an issue. Customers should be involved in the design of those. Customers need a wow factor. Okay, it's the icing on the cake, as it says, not the cake. And here are your discussion questions for this section for your discussion group, leadership group. Thank you again.